Today, our topic is the nature of free will. Do we have it? Free will is a big idea that has been discussed for thousands of years by philosophers, scientists, and thinkers. It is the idea that we have the power to make our own choices and control our lives. But do we really have free will, or are our choices already decided by things outside of our control? This is a deep question, and it touches on everything from how we live our lives to how we understand ourselves as human beings. Let's explore this idea step by step. First, let's think about what free will means. Free will is the ability to choose what we do, say, and think. It means we are not like machines or robots that just follow a program. Instead, we can decide for ourselves. For example, if you are hungry, you can choose what to eat. You can pick an apple, a sandwich, or something else. This seems simple, but it gets complicated when we think about what influences our choices. Are we really free to choose? Or are there things that push us to make certain decisions? One argument against free will is determinism. Determinism is the idea that everything that happens is caused by things that happened before. For example, if you throw a ball into the air, it will fall back down because of gravity. This is a simple cause and effect relationship. Now think about your choices. If everything is caused by something else, then your decisions might also be caused by things outside of your control. Maybe your genetics, your upbringing, or even the chemicals in your brain are deciding for you. If this is true, then free will might be an illusion. You might think you are choosing, but really, your choices are already decided. But wait, this doesn't feel right, does it? It feels like we are making real choices every day. When you decide to study for a test or go out with friends, it feels like you are in control. So is there a way to believe in free will, even if determinism is true? Some philosophers think yes. They say that even if our choices are influenced by things outside of us, we still have some freedom. This is called compatibilism. Compatibilism says that free will and determinism can both be true at the same time. It means that even if our choices are influenced by outside factors, we are still the ones making the decisions. So in a way, we still have free will. Now, let's talk about another idea, randomness. Some people think that if our choices are not determined by outside factors, then they must be random. But is randomness the same as free will? If your choices are random, does that mean you are free? Imagine you are deciding what to eat for dinner. If your choice is random, it could be anything: soup, pizza, or even something you don't like. But this doesn't feel like freedom. Freedom feels like making a choice based on what you want, not just picking something at random. So, randomness doesn't seem to solve the problem of free will either. What about the idea of responsibility? If we don't have free will, can we still be responsible for our actions? Think about the legal system. If someone commits a crime, we hold them responsible. But if their actions were determined by things outside of their control, like their brain chemistry or their upbringing, is it fair to punish them? This is a difficult question. Some people say that even if we don't have free will, we still need to hold people responsible to keep society working. Others say that if we don't have free will, we need to change how we think about responsibility. Now, let's look at this from a different angle: science. Neuroscience is the study of the brain, and it has shown that our brains make decisions before we are even aware of them. In experiments, scientists can predict what a person will choose before the person knows it themselves. This makes some people think that free will is just an illusion. But others say that even if our brains are doing the work, we are still the ones making the choices. It's just that our brains are part of who we are. So, maybe free will is more complicated than we thought. Another way to think about free will is through the idea of control. To have free will, we need to have control over our actions. But how much control do we really have? Think about habits. If you have a habit of checking your phone all the time, is that really your choice? Or is it something you do without thinking? Habits can feel automatic, like they are not under our control. But we can also change our habits if we want to. This shows that even if we don't have full control all the time, we still have some control. So maybe free will is not all or nothing. Maybe it's something we have to some degree. Now, let's talk about how this idea affects our lives. If we believe in free will, we might feel more motivated to make good choices. We might think, I have the power to change my life. But if we don't believe in free will, we might feel like nothing we do matters. This can lead to a sense of hopelessness. But even if we don't have complete free will, we can still try to make the best choices we can. We can focus on the things we can control and accept the things we can't. This is a key idea in Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. Stoicism says that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. For example, if it rains, we can't stop the rain, but we can choose to stay inside or go out with an umbrella. This is a simple example, but it shows how we can apply this idea to bigger things in life. If we lose a job, we can't change the past, but we can choose how to move forward. If we have a disagreement with a friend, we can't control their feelings, but we can choose how to respond. This way of thinking can help us feel more in control of our lives, even if we don't have full free will. Finally, let's think about the future. Science and technology are advancing quickly. We are learning more about the brain and how it works. In the future, we might be able to predict human behavior even better. This could make the question of free will even more complicated. But no matter what science discovers, the question of free will always be important. It is a question about who we are and what it means to be human. Whether we have free will or not, we still have to live our lives. We still have to make choices, big and small. And those choices shape who we are. In conclusion, the nature of free will is a complex and deep topic. It is not something we can answer easily. But thinking about it can help us understand ourselves better. It can help us see the ways we are in control, and the ways we are not. It can also help us be more compassionate with ourselves and others. If we think that everyone's choices are influenced by things outside of their control, we might be more understanding. At the same time, believing in some degree of free will can give us hope and motivation. It can remind us that we have the power to shape our lives, even if we don't have complete control. So whether we have free will or not, the most important thing is to live our lives with intention and purpose. To make the best choices we can and to learn from our mistakes. Because in the end, that is what being human is all about.